Yes, welcome to Solid Principle tutorial. So today onwards, I'm just covering a new part is called Solid Principle in C Sharp. It is just simple a design principle we do have, and this is something not relevant is only into a particular language. It is just a design principle which helps in application development, which helps in and solves lot of things, and it has its own purposes why we should go for solid principle. So we are going to cover one by one and step by step. So let's start with. Okay, yeah, so in object oriented programming, like we do have C sharp, Java, Python, PHP, and C++, a lot of object oriented programming we do have. In this OAP, solid is an acronym which is introduced by Michael Feather to make the software design more understandable, flexible, and maintainable. So these three terms you need to focus more on this. Like, you should design one application, you should design one software, so that whenever the next developer is going to work, he or she should be understanding properly. It should be maintainable properly. It's not like you are simple uh, writing some code here and there, and there will be very difficult to manage in terms of lot of things. And it should be flexible in the terms of it should be simple as it is. Okay, so these principles are subset of many principle earlier which is already published by Robert C. Martin. Okay, so it is a subset and it is come up with a finally principle is called solid principle. Okay, so SOLID, so it serves five kind of design principle. So based on that, the full form is called solid principle. Okay, as I earlier told, the solid principle is not strict to a particular language. Instead, it solid principle is nothing but it's a application design application uh, principle. How using this principle you can make use of and create a good application actually, so that it can be maintainable properly. Okay, so what was the issue? So why for the solid principle came into the market? Why uh, developer thought of, like, no, it should not be like that. Why should we should have a particular principle? Why should have a proper principle for this? Okay, so when an application is about to start, generally you can think of what it first takes place. Requirement gathering, and let's suppose it is all done. The main thing, being a architect, what he should or she should focusing on is called the design. Okay, the design pattern, how the application is going to behave, what is the requirement, how I'm going to design, so that in terms of performance, in terms of maintainability, in terms of understanding, it should support properly. But over a period of time, application can come up with lot of bugs and changes, and in some cases even for a very simple task, you will stuck somewhere, and you need to have the proper understanding. If I'm doing one change, where will be the impact, right? Let's suppose, just take an example, you are just changing one data access layers method, and it is not, maybe it is a service, it is not a standalone application. Then you should be have the in and out of the knowledge of this application, and you should have the impact analysis before going for a modification, right? So in this case, even we can't blame to someone, or we can't blame, or we can't even refuse the upcoming changes it is coming up with, right? So what happens because we have to trust, because it is a part of application development and we have to go for it. But what can be done better, that we are just going to watch right now. Okay, but then you can think of, okay, who is the culprit here? Like, as I mentioned in bold, who is the culprit and why this problem is occurring again and again? Of course, the current design pattern, or the current design of application, when the design has been taken into grant, when the application got started. Okay, so the most common design flaws that causes damages in application is putting more burden on a single class by assigning more responsibility. Let's suppose you are defining class, you should be keep on mind, okay, if I'm writing something, it only should solve a particular purpose. It's not like you are just writing anything on the same class. Okay, so this is like the principle defines it, says, and it asks for proper follow up. We are just going to discuss because it is a part of one of the salary principle. The S stands for single responsibility. Okay, one class dependent on another, which is called tightly coupled on each other. So what will be the problem if you are going to change, let's suppose class A and it is tightly coupled with class B? It may be definitely affecting to another, and you need to change in many places. So that is the problem, and it is not at all a good practice to do, because if you are changing, you have to test more functionality, because you don't even know, like if you are changing A and there is a effect, I have to change B because it will give compilation error as well, right? So if you are changing there, how the functionality is going to be support which has the dependency with class B, because my requirement is in class A. You are understanding, right? I hope. Yeah, so we will, don't worry, we will see in details in our upcoming series. Spreading duplicate code throughout the application, this is not at all a good practice. If you are writing the same and same in multiple files, it doesn't make any sense. Instead of that, you can split into a particular or the common class, and it should be used by, even it gives the reusability, one of the strongest principle of OOPS. Okay, so what is the solution for these problems? The one is called, we need to take care of following things while developing an application. The first thing is choose an proper architecture, choose a right architecture first. Okay, you can define, like there are a lot of, let's suppose in terms of technical, why you should go for MVC, why you should go for not go for waveform. There are a lot of reasons, there are a lot of advantages. That's why the technology is getting updated. Yeah, so you should choose a right architecture. Second, following proper design principle. As I told, if you are not following your design principle, we are going to suffer in some day, as we discussed just in our previous slide, right? And the third one, choose correct design pattern as well. So what is design pattern? Definitely we will have another series on this. Now I am following with solid principle. We are going to discuss 5 principle we do have, which is important to successful build an application. Okay, so we will have a design pattern tutorial as well. So let's understand how design principle helps over here. So here you can see there is solid design principle. One is called the single responsibility principle. Okay, I am not going to explain one by one just in this tutorial, but definitely we will have one session on each principle with the example, appropriate example. So single responsibility principle, that is I was talking about, you should not operate in one class. One class should be used for a particular or only one purpose. It doesn't serve multiple purpose on the single class, because the maintainability will be difficult. Open close principle. Okay, so O stands for open close principle. We will discuss one by one. Liskop substitution principle, interface segregation principle, and dependency inversion principle. So these 5 principle we do have, and is combined is called solid principle. And we are going to cover the solid principle using .NET in C# language. So we will be checking out all one by one. Yep. So thank you viewers, thanks for watching this video series. I will be coming up with our first principle, which is all about single responsibility principle soon. And I would request to please do subscribe by clicking on the watermark, else you can go to the below description, there is a subscribe button, just click on that, and post that you just click on the bell icon, so that you will be get notified whenever there is a post from my end, and you are not gonna to miss a single one. Okay, so I am coming up with, let's meet you soon. So till then, keep smiling, keep sharing your knowledge with others, and keep learning, because learning never has an end. Thank you.